Let's get to Gabe Davis, who I scored $15 from you three on because he's the former Bill, future Bill that is back. Gabe Davis is on the practice squad.
Yep.
So,
Initially
on the practice squad. He's rehabbing an injury and on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And what's anybody... 803-0550. For all the talk about Gabe Davis as a polarizing player, phone lines are available. Anybody want to call up and tell us how polarizing he is one way or the other? I do not think Gabe Davis is a very polarizing player. I think Gabe Davis, we all kind of know who he is and what he does. The polarizing part about Gabe Davis is how the Bills handled his time here and whether or not he was good enough for the role that they elevated him to. Because when he left, I don't remember an awful lot of, they're going to regret this. It was a little bit of, well, too expensive, don't want to pay that, it's fine. So I feel like it's a lot like Tyrod Taylor, which is, there's not some great debate here. We know exactly how good he is. The debate is, should he be elevated to this spot where he's a franchise quarterback, or must you move on, and what should the Bills do? And there might have been, people on the ends firing back and forth at each other, but most of the people are in the middle thinking like, no, he's pretty good, but this isn't your long-term answer. So I don't think Davis is polarizing. I think the conversation around him and what the Bills asked him to do and trusted him to do, that is where it gets kind of, spicy.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some polarization as to how valuable what he does is, right? And he's out there all the time on the field. He did put up, if you think Matt Collins had a big year last year, then Gabe Davis has had 4 of them.
Monster years.
Because he's cleared what Matt Collins did last year in yardage and even touchdowns. Yardage by 200 plus every single year he played for the Bills. So I think there's a little polarization. I still see some people out there that think he's a really good wide receiver. I think most probably know he's not. I don't know what he is at this point, though. Knee injury, right? Meniscus. And last year, total shell of himself. And I've always wondered about how he'd last in the league, given that he's a player that would catch the ball down the field. Those are his plays. Yards per reception, top of the league, near the top of the league every year that he was in the NFL. It's like him and Henry Ruggs over a 4-year period were like the top 2 guys in the league. But he's not a speedster.
No.
He's not that.
He stacks speed vertically, but he needs time to do it. It's not a 0 to 60 scenario.
Right. But if now I've got any form of a deteriorated Gabe Davis, then what is he really doing for me? If he gets out onto the field, he's just going to block? What is he doing that Jackson Hawes can't do for me, I guess, out there on the field?
Jackson Hawes.
Would be my question. And I'm worried. I was not worried about Poyer because I think he didn't have a market. There was not going to be a long list of teams that were going to line up and try to get him. I don't think that was the case with Jordan Phillips either. Wasn't the case with Micah Hyde at the end. This one feels different to me. Because he's not at the end of his career, and the reporting after about he's initially on the practice squad. That doesn't sound like he'll forever be on the practice squad, and that there were other teams that were interested throughout the process, and that he's 26. I think he's. We've talked about Poyer back and forth. I don't think Poyer is going to get on the field much. I didn't think Micah Hyde was going to be on the field last year. I think Gabe Davis is getting on the field, and that would be a concern for me. If he steps on the field, that's a concern.
Well, last night on Hard Knocks, we learned... Did you watch Hard Knocks last night?
I actually missed the Hard Knocks last night.
Well, if you missed it, I wouldn't blame you. First off, you had to remember it was Tuesday.
Right. That is literally why I forgot to watch it or didn't watch it, because I forgot it was Tuesday.
So we logged in. I popped it on to watch it, and at 9 o'clock, it was not there. It took until 9:20 for whatever reason to show up for me.
Maybe HBO also forgot.
Could have been my house, whatever. So we started late. Poyer is part of this episode, and Poyer says, I came here to play.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I know I'm not here to take anyone's job, but at the same time,
yeah,
I think I still got something for this game. So to your conversation about Poyer and Gabe, the thing with Gabe, other teams were interested. Maybe that's the agent for Gabe seems to be an active agent that gets whatever, gets his messaging out there. Man, I don't know what to do with the Gabe thing. We live in this time where the Bills are great, and if you come at them for anything, whether that's, hey, maybe they should have drafted a receiver in the 5th round, or whatever it is, it's, how dare you, they're good.
Yeah.
And that's not everybody. Everyone's got their small little criticisms. So I know each and every one of you out there listening wishes they did some things differently. And with this, it's, you're going to worry about Gabe Davis, the practice squad? He's on the practice squad. Who cares? He's on the practice squad. But it's another dipping back to the vibes. He is 26 years old. 26 years old. He had no market, in part because he gets to do what he wants here. The Jags are basically paying him. There's offset language. Wherever he signs, he doesn't make more money.
Right.
He just kind of gets what he gets. So he picks his best scenario, which is coming back to join Josh and try to work his way back in with the team that he came up with. Gabe is a great success story of a 4th-round pick. He's arguably the Bills' best ever pick at receiver. One of them. Shakir at 5, Gabe at 4. Those two are both really good picks, and Gabe is a home run of a pick. Diggs, of course, is a trade. And now I've got, Keon Coleman. So Gabe is a success story. The thing about him now and the way this all kind of lines up is, like you said, he's like, what, wide receiver 7, 8, 9? Is he gonna work his way back? Is he gonna get on the field? The most under talked about thing in the last 24 hours about this is, does anybody remember Gabe Davis in the Joe Brady offense? Non-existent.
Right.
So part of me wants to say, I guess I shouldn't get too worked up about it. First off, because the practice squad player. But we talked about how Diggs couldn't find a role in the Brady offense. Gabe was below that. Gabe was gone. Games with 0 targets. Games with 1 target. Games with 0 catches. He left and went to Jacksonville, put on number 0, and a good joke was like, to represent the targets he got in the Joe Brady offense. He was not a factor. He was not a part of Joe Brady's offense. He's not a yak guy. He's never been a yak guy.
No,
he's
not
a
at all.
down-the-field guy. This offense is built on yak guys. Even Keon Coleman is a great yak player. So yards after catch, separating early, anything like that, that is not the same fit.
No.
There's a part of it to me that thinks, you're dipping back to a guy that you played with for a couple of years, and that's fine. That's normal. He's injured. He's working his way back. He can show a lot of players what it's like to be a Buffalo Bill. He's got chemistry with Josh. All right. But on fit, the fit, we watched it die. We watched the fit die. And they kept that coordinator, and that coordinator has had great success kind of pulling the most out of receivers. And this is a guy who, when Brady got the job, you would have thought, well, look at Gabe. I mean, I wonder if he can go to the next level. Answer, he went to 0. He became a 0 under Joe Brady. So I don't know where he is in the mix. As you say, the agent or whatever, the reports are initially on the practice squad. Maybe, maybe not.
I would predict he's on the active roster at some point when he's healthy. And part of it is what he was passing on. If he had any thought that the Steelers were actually serious about signing him at some point, and maybe they didn't want to do it right now because he's got this meniscus injury, but, he's thinking of, okay, what's best for him? And, okay, Josh Allen, and it's the Bills, I'm familiar with that. Okay, that might sound like that could be best for you, but put yourself in Gabe Davis's shoes. You are a 26-year-old wide receiver. You got a year here where you're getting paid by the Jaguars. And then I think that's it, right? The Jags aren't paying you for year after year after year at that.
Then you're going to need a contract.
You're going to need a contract in a year. And you're 26 years old. I'm sure he's trying to have 7 to 7 more years of a career here. What's best for you? I got to get on the field. I gotta show people that I can still do it and have an opportunity to play. That's where it's different for me from Poyer is he's riding off into the sunset. Jordan Phillips, they're riding off into the sunset. This guy's looking to have a career probably elsewhere. And what he passed on was a wide receiver room that features Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, and Ben Skowronek. That's what he had to beat out to get on the field in Pittsburgh.
With Aaron Rodgers. And here, there's a lot more names, but that's part of my concern now is, does Gabe Davis believe that, or has he been giving some indication that you can climb over these guys here? This isn't going to be
preventative. Curtis Samuel and Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore, for instance. Like, you're going to have a shot here. And that would be my problem.
It's chicken or egg a little bit here, but because maybe our antenna are up because of the name, or maybe the antenna are up because of the position. But where did the Bills bring back 3 former players to jump on the practice squad? Is it not the 3 positions that people would wonder about the most? Defensive tackle, safety, and wide receiver.
Yeah.
There's really nowhere else you would do it. If they brought back somebody on the offensive, Quentin Spain came back, that's a terrible name. I can't even think. Like who the equivalent is. They bring back somebody for offensive line. We're like, well, not worried about that. The Bills have a great offensive line. This guy's got no chance of playing.
I would say Trey White, but they already did that.
They did that with Trey White. That's right. They did with Trey White.
If they had signed like Tyrell Dodson.
Right.
Yeah.
To the practice squad. You would be whatever. He's behind Milano and Bernard and has no chance, and Dorian Williams has no chance of getting on the field outside of injury. And in this case, with whether it's Jordan Phillips or it's Jordan Poyer or it's Gabe Davis, I don't think you have to work that hard to say, he might make his way through. And you'll have plenty of Bills fans calling this low risk, high reward, which I've got I want to have a conversation about that phrase, which is the most used phrase in all of sports right now.
Low risk,
high reward, baby. Low risk, high reward. Just going to start using it everywhere I go. Low risk, high reward. Honey, I bought some beans from a guy on the corner. He said they'll grow a magic beanstalk. Cost me $10. Low risk, high reward. What if it does?
Well, what if the beanstalk is Gabe Davis is playing football for you?
All right, well.
That's a risk. In my opinion, that is a risk.
That's not a high reward, right? Well, it's a practice squad guy, so, it is what it is.
The reward would be he stays on the practice squad all season and doesn't touch the field. That's what I would say to it.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Buff in Dallas is up. Hey, Buff, good morning.
Hey, guys, I beg to differ. I think he's going to play, but this is insane when it comes to Bean. I mean, come on, Jeremy, think about it, man. This guy, he's passed probably like 3 different wide receiver drafts and didn't take anybody in the high 2 first rounder, you know what I mean? So you shouldn't have to bring back Gabe. We know what he's about. But so all the guys that he signed, you mentioned Shakir and some of Bean guys that he took, like who they restructured last season. Gabe was one of those guys who didn't get the contract, so he didn't exceed his expectations after being the 4th rounder. So to bring him back, that says a lot about Keon Coleman and the guys that are on the roster right now. So that's telling me that, man, you got to bring Gabe in. So, because Keon Coleman was his replacement, if you ask me. They're kind of similar receivers, body type and everything. Would you agree or not?
No, I think they are not the same. The body type, sure, where they could play, commitment to blocking. There are things about them that are similar, but they're not the same. Coleman, again, one of the things I mentioned, like Gabe, not good yards after catch. Coleman, so far, great at it.
Yeah.
Neither one of them separates all that well, which is fine, but I feel like Coleman brings you a lot more. Coleman can give you more. We haven't seen Coleman hit anything down the field, which is something, of course, that was a specialty for Gabe. So I guess I don't want to say that they're all that different because they're large, down the field, runway routes, get some speed behind them kind of guys that can win with body. But I just think I'll say this, Buff. I think it says nothing about Coleman. That's one thing I don't agree. I don't think anything they've done with Davis says anything about their receiving room outside of if they decide they trust him more than Tyrell Shavers or Elijah Moore. I don't think Gabe Davis touches the top 4 on this team in any scenario outside of injury.
So basically, you're saying Gabe is what's the receiver that came over from the Raiders and the Cowboys and Cleveland? The veteran they just let go.
Mac Hollins?
Went back to the
Mac Hollins?
No, not Hollins. The other guy that went back to the Raiders who initially.
Oh, Amari Cooper.
Oh.
Cooper. So he's Cooper replacement. That's what you're saying?
Well, I mean, Cooper.
He's not going to touch the field right now, but after his injury and all this stuff, they're going to probably put him on.
I don't think
Cooper didn't get much touches in this offense either.
Well,
which is crazy to me.
Cooper's role. Thanks, Buff. We get into a break here. Cooper's role was supposed to be like the number 1 receiver. They traded a 3rd-round pick for him to be their number 1 guy. And Bean this offseason said, he pointed out they scored 7 more points per game with him in the lineup than they didn't. So he got attention. Davis, knee injury, and a lot of things. But Davis, the thing about Gabe for me that I struggle to not constantly bring up is for 2 full years he was their wide receiver 2, and everybody, it seems, except them, knew they should have somebody better at that spot. 2 full years of Josh Allen's prime window, contending window, with a stud number 1 on the other side. They needed somebody to better exploit the fact they have a stud number 1 on the other side that could do more, and they didn't. And they rolled out wide receiver rooms with Deontay Hardy and Trent Sherfield that were like bargain basement guys. Now they've built a deeper room. I don't think Davis has a chance to get through it. I really don't believe. I don't think he has much of a chance to get through it.
Then why'd he sign here?
Because he doesn't have options, and just like Jordan Phillips, he likes it here. Because it's the practice squad, and who'd he kick off the practice squad?
So is he accepting his career is over then?
No.
Because what's going to happen? He's going to not play this year, and then he's going to hit free agency, and someone else is going to sign him then?
He's doing the same thing that Vic Fangio does when he gets fired and becomes a consultant with the Eagles. And then if he wants a job next year, he'll go work for one. But what's Gabe going to do? He wasn't going to make any more money anywhere else. He thinks there might be an opportunity. I'm not so sure there's much of an opportunity. To Buff's point, though, and this kind of a zoom out, what would I rather have on the practice squad than Gabe Davis? A fast receiver that gets open that needs a little more seasoning. Because somebody that can get open. And, as we go through this, we talk about the position a lot. We talk about wide receiver a lot. Brandon Beane highlighted that we talk about it a lot, even if we don't, which – this offseason was a lot about defensive end and overhauling the defense here on this show. The thing about Gabe, though, is I knew what he was for multiple seasons, a serviceable role player, and now he's back, and what am I going to do about it? I want developmental players instead of another callback guy. And even,
you want the 7th-round pick they just dumped for this spot.
He got hurt.
Yeah,
Caden Prather got hurt. I'd much rather have that. I'd much rather have a little bit of a belief that learning the things they do is more doable for young players. Because what they're kind of telling you is, we don't have the depth of guys that know what to do. Mm-hmm. So we brought back 3 guys that do know what to do, I guess. It's practice squad. I'm not too bent out of shape about it. But I do think if you zoom out and look larger picture, it's just kind of like, okay, this is why we created the former Bill, future Bill draft. Because I saw the joke yesterday, does Brandon Beane have anybody else's phone number? Which I thought was kind of funny. So Gabe's back. I don't think it's a problem. I definitely don't think it's any sort of boost if you want to get to that. Like, what he's going to bring, what he can do. I don't see that at all.